Good morning, you fine folks on YouTube. I got a haircut for the first time in a long time. I don't really cut my own hair, but I can get used to this. I feeling pretty good. So I haven't been wearing a hat as I normally do, but it's just too convenient to clip the mic onto, so got to cover up all that fine work. Currently downloading files on the studio machine in here to start mixing on a documentary. Super excited to dig in on that. Haven't mixed one in about 6 months, so excited to dive into that. Totally different workflow from working on a songs. But I've had a few conversations lately, people interested as we get to the end of the year, that some people want to know if they can intern with me or if I'm looking for people to come work with me. I enjoy mostly, unless I really know you, working by myself. And that's different for everybody, but it got me thinking about what types of skills are needed to work in a space like this. If you're interested in working in a studio, around a studio, with a mixer, mastering engineer, what types of attributes do people who get hired for those positions exhibit? And let's talk about it. If you're wanting to do something like this, it's basically expected you're not going to be a pro. That's fine. You don't have to come out of the gate knowing everything there is to know about Pro Tools. The key thing here is, and you can stop watching the video after this point because the rest of it's just going to be details. You have to be able to add value somehow in a relationship. If you're being paid for the position, as I kind of think you should in a relationship like this, so there should be value added. There are definitely relationships in this kind of field where internships, unpaid internships, where you're just receiving education. You're still receiving something highly valuable, and you should be able to give value. If that alone is something you can accomplish, you're going to be heads and tails. If that alone is something that you can accomplish, you are going to be so far ahead of the rest of the crowd, because I cannot tell you the amount of people who want to intern or want to be around a studio who will just sit on a couch, drink the coffee, give nothing to the process, kind of be like a soul sucking on the vibe a little bit, that's a big no-no. And overall, just kind of be self-centered about the process, that we are all here to teach that individual. And I think back on my own background when I was doing this, and I was that kid. I was the entitled kid that wanted to learn everything, and I thought it was everybody's job to teach me everything. I quickly snapped out of that because I realized I was not getting into certain circles because of that. So part of you has to be self-aware to the point where you're not, how can I say this without making some individuals upset here? No one's gonna pick you out of a crowd and point to you and say that person needs to know all of the secrets of this industry. It won't happen. You have to, one, find yourself in a situation where you can kind of build those relationships with individuals who are in those situations, and then offer them something that's worth their time in exchange for the information that they have. Because things like school can do a whole lot for you. You can get the book learning side of this, or you can just get a crazy book collection on your own, right? There's a whole lot of learning that can happen in school, and I don't want to discount school. The thing, I had this conversation with somebody just yesterday. Their kid was super interested in going down the path to go to audio school, and looking at those prices, they showed me the cost. I was astounded. I could not imagine being close to $500,000 in debt after the time of getting a degree to do audio. Bonkers to me. If you were to take that same, even let's cut it in half. If we take $200,000 that would have gone towards a couple years tuition at this place, buy studio gear, rent a space for a few years, and try it out. You're not going to be awesome right off the bat, but newsflash, you're not going to be awesome right out of school. At least this way, you're getting real world experience with real clients and real gear, and it's yours. You'll know real fast if this career is right for you or not, and you have a resale value on the gear you just bought. Hey, real quick, time to say thank you to today's sponsor, you guys. So if this whole thing interests you, there's something new that I'm starting. If you're interested in learning more about this, but a 4-year college degree doesn't sound like it's up your alley, go to recordingstudiouniversity.com. There's a really easy email sign up there, and that just gets you on the list so you can hear as we build this thing out what it's going to be. The focus for this is going to be to teach very specific things catered to individuals who would like to do this for a living. Obviously, it's going to change and grow the farther we go into it, but we wanted to see who's all interested. So if you are interested, go to recordingstudiouniversity.com, put in your email down below, because I want to see if this is worth pursuing or not. Back to the video. Now, I've got nothing against going to school. I went to school. I have a master's degree. You definitely don't need to go that far, but I didn't go for audio. I was involved with audio the whole time. Don't get me wrong. But if this is your goal, coming from somebody who's gone down the path, I'm not totally sure it's as necessary as everybody really thinks it is. And obviously, the idea of going to university for this, or going to college, or whatever you call it in your region, going to a place like that is probably going to be a fantastic experience, and you're going to learn a whole lot. The question becomes, is the investment worth it? Is the amount of lost time worth it? The more interesting parts of this question come with, what is that school setting you up for? Are you learning on a massive console to record bands in a large commercial facility? Is that realistically what you're going to be doing when you get out of school? For most of us, probably not. Now, that's coming from somebody who has a space, but my space is about as DIY as it gets, all right? What I would have been more stoked to learn in school is how to properly file my taxes for having my own business, having a stronger focus on like entrepreneurial skill sets that I would need, customer service. I mean, things like signal flow are important, but these are things you can learn on YouTube from anyone. There are definitely some more woo-woo things that you can learn, like what preamp sounds like what. I really don't think that's going to come from an education in school. And of course, I'm getting a little off the beaten path here. Of course, they're going to teach you more than just that. You're going to learn miking techniques. You're going to learn like advanced signal flow. You're going to learn quite a bit of good stuff, actually. The thing that's confusing for me is when somebody finally does come to help, who's worked in a place like that, I'm teaching the ground level stuff. I don't want this to reflect on any individual educational facility. However, the experiences with some students has made me question the quality that you're getting, especially for the amount of money that it costs. All right, let's set up this session. Hey. Well, that was a little bit of a rant. Sorry if I got off the beaten path there. So if you do want to do this, what are things to actually get you in somebody's door? Value. What can you offer to that person? Because honestly, there's nothing that you're going to offer that studio that they can't also do for themselves. But think about it like time. If you're going to like a functioning business and you're wanting to work there because that individual is successful or that facility is successful, whatever that is, they're doing something cool, they can operate without you. Understand that first and foremost. They don't need you to be able to function. So if you're there and you're learning, someone's basically teaching you how to do their job. Now, think about the thing you're asking that individual to do. I'm going to teach you how to possibly decrease my income as a business owner. Is that exactly what it is in every case? No. Most of the time, whoever you're teaching is not going to be a threat, not because they're not talented, but just geographically, it kind of works out. You're not going to worry about that one individual who's going to learn how to do it. And chances are you guys are going to be working in different markets anyway, because the music industry is large. The community itself, very small. So what then can you do? The music industry is cool, but it's not like it's a unique industry. The things we do within the industry are kind of unique to the music industry. However, it operates no differently than any aspect of any industry where humans are working. You want to be a good person. You want to treat people as if they're human. And yeah, even if you are kind of the bottom of the rung in that room and in the hierarchy of things, like you are there to learn and to serve and to be helpful in exchange for this highly valuable education. I mean, you yourself are putting value in that education that you are hoping to get from somebody who's done it in the field, right? And everybody on the other side of that is going to be different. What do those individuals want? So have a conversation with those people. Like, what can I do to make your life easy? What can I do? And if that's cleaning a bathroom, which I hate, I'm not sure I would ever ask anyone to clean a bathroom for me. If that's your love language and that's your way in, go for it. If it's doing really mundane things like wrapping cables, putting away microphones, now that in and of itself is a way that you can really impress the individual you're working for. If you take the time to learn how to over/under a cable, how to wrap it the correct way, how to wrap it so the cable doesn't get damaged, how to wrap it so when you go to unwrap it, it doesn't get tangled, how to store those cables in a way that makes sense. These sound like stupid little details, but those little details are such a value add for the person that you're working with. If you can learn to very generally tune a vocal, how to edit a drum set, and again, there's tons of resources online. I have a few videos on how to do it if you want to check it out, but go watch anyone's videos. Learn the very general basics. And if you think you're going to do it wrong, do it non-destructively. It is really easy in Pro Tools and a lot of other DAWs. In Pro Tools, we call it playlists. You can duplicate a playlist, basically creating the same thing. Again, whatever you do to that file is then changed, but in a non-destructive way because the original's there. So if you're nervous about messing up somebody's files, you can always go back. And in any other DAW that's not Pro Tools, just copy it. There are ways to do this where you don't have to be deathly afraid of making a huge mistake. And chances are they gave you a copy of the session anyway, so they have the original. If you fail big, but try hard, because if you win, holy cow, that is such a value add for the person that you're going to be working with. I don't even think it's not even those things specifically. It's the fact that if you could be the type of person to look at a situation and identify what needs to happen, and then be able to non-invasively insert yourself into that situation, just to ask the question, how can I make your life easier? What can I do to make you less stressed? What can I do to save you time? That's the big thing here, because in a studio like this, especially in a smaller company where one-man business, like, time is the thing I'm paying attention to, not necessarily money. Time equals money, money equals time, math. And this is going back to you're coming to work with a functioning business. And I'm not even necessarily talking about myself here. I'm talking about anyone. The focus isn't really going to be on how can I make you more money? It's how can I get you home earlier? How can I help get this space to the point where you don't have to worry about so many things? But the quality of your work does not diminish. It does not take longer to do. And if anything, the quality of that work is now elevated because you are fresh, because you're not stressed. And you're not going to know how to do all those things right off the bat. If that's your focus, you're going to stand out big time in the industry, and everyone is going to talk about it. Everybody talks about the good experiences they've had with anyone in the industry. And if that happens to be an intern, they're going to talk about it just like anything else. So that when you're done with that path and now you're working, you've already made yourself a reputation for being very focused on what everyone else around you needs. And that is exactly what makes working in this industry, what makes an individual successful or not. There are other ways to do it. That's the thing that I have seen as a common denominator, at least among a lot of my peers that I respect in the industry. That's the thing that differentiates people. All things being equal, of course, you can still get good tones, you can get good mixes, you can do good masters. All other things being equal, the ones who are really successful are giving good experiences and treating customers the right way, because this is customer service. This is so customer service minded, and everything here revolves around people. So knowing somebody, treating them right, it may not get you exactly what you want today, but I can tell you from experience, it comes back around, and it comes back around big time. So what do you guys think? Do you have studios and you've had this conversation with other individuals, or are you somebody who's looking to get into the industry and you've been frustrated because you haven't been able to kind of lock down a position with anybody? I'd love to know in the comments down below. I'm Resident Loser Jeremy. I need to go start mixing.